I've been into art since I could hold a pen. I always drew when I was a kid and would draw on any surface. The only thing I did more than drawing was reading while walking, especially. So I was always drawing on any paper anyone could give me, and I routinely got in trouble for drawing on the back of math tests and stuff. And then the first time I seriously thought about studio art and thought about being a working artist was when I saw a documentary about Robert Rauschenberg when I was a junior in high school.
I mean, my mom always had us doing stuff when we were little, and yeah, I don't think a year has gone by I haven't done something with art.
Five something. I don't know, I was always sketching and drawing when I was a kid, and so don't do it too much anymore, but didn't really get serious about it until probably year 12 or something like that.
It's like any other exercise. It turns into like a job. It's almost job interview-like, where you know the things you're supposed to say and supposed to do to effectively get through the critique and leave the final impression. Like I learned early on, there's no point in talking about your piece, because if you set out goals for yourself, you say, well, you know, when I did this piece on underground mapping, I really wanted to get at the sort of trust and contempt people have for the institution. Then the professors will rip you apart. They'll go to your piece and go, I don't see any trust of the institution in this piece. So the best thing to do is just be like, you give a title and then you sit back and shut up the whole time. And then people will weave their own golden, shining narrative out of the minimal amount you gave them, and they'll chase each other around for 15 minutes and argue with each other, and you'll be comfortably above the fray. So like, a lot of it is tactics, and it's a lot like a job interview.
I think they should be more harsh. I think that if students got honest, if students eliminated, like I know that we're all friends and stuff, but if you were just honest with someone and forget about, oh, he said something mean to me, I think that the work ethic or the level of the quality of work and it would be bigger, you know, like if we have a crit with a professor, I mean the professor should be like, should be assertive and they should be constructive, but they need to tell you what. It should be pretty harsh, I think.
Artists come in.
I know.
He used to run the painting program, and he said that he regretted introducing critique into the program because he felt that we should just be free to do our work, and then our meetings with the professors were enough. And I mean, to some extent, I agree, because it's not the real world yet. And I've talked to other people about this, and we shouldn't be under certain pressures that we are under. You know, it's all well and good to be prepared for real life and everything, but it's another thing to realize that this is an incubator. We need to be allowed to be somewhat sheltered. So
it can become a closed tank then somehow. Yeah.
I guess it's kind of a hard line to walk. I mean, I like critique, and then I get to hear stuff, but then at the same time, there's a lot of irrelevant things that get brought up. And it's like, okay. The content, yeah, hands down. And it does, the process does matter to me, but that isn't always going to be evident when you're looking at the work. And I really, at this point, do believe that, you know, what you see is what you get, and you have to deal with that. I mean, when we're in critique and we're talking about something, and there's, you know, somebody always says like, well, I saw them working on this and they were doing that then, but that's not really relevant because in the real world, you're not going to get to see that.
The final product is more important. I think everyone likes to see evidence of effort and is impressed by effort because you feel like everyone's getting their fair share and a fair shake. But I kind of don't really care if people spend time on it as long as I like the finished product. And my favorite, my only criteria for a good project is whether it makes sense in a self-contained way. And I think the best work makes sense without needing a ton of explanation from the artist. And I like when all the pieces work together, when the title and the materials and the finished product all lead towards one really carefully thought out conclusion.
I think I'd definitely say process.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess probably gonna get a lot of variation with that, but I don't know, to me at least the process is a lot more important. What you go through, you're gonna learn, at least while you're in school, so you're gonna learn a shitload more. I mean, you're gonna learn a lot more in the process through experimentation and stuff like that, like through screwing it up, you're gonna learn everything.
I primarily do research-based art, using sort of a limited scientific method thing. I use a lot of data sets. I did a whole series that was of just poster. I do a lot of works as posters, inkjet posters, and I find data sets usually that I find interesting. And one of my first projects this semester was I did posters from National Transportation Safety Board reports, which are reports on how accidents came to be and the factors that led to train and bus and car accidents. And I've done maps, and usually my end format comes in the form of the poster.
Books. I have a lot of design books at home, a lot of sketching books. The internet's a good source if you go to design websites, and like doodles, if you've doodled before in the past, and they might be like crazy doodles, but I usually look back and like, yeah, I can make that feasible. Now that we're at that senior level where we're more sophisticated and we could turn something into a feasible concept.